Ladies and gentlemen, earlier this morning, Sim Update 2 has officially rolled out. After several efforts, the second Sim update seems to be an extensive one. And firstly, an immediate observation of how stable it appears to be. In fact, over the last couple of months, I've been using the Sim less and tried out the beta version. Gave it time to really grow and evolve. And with the fixes and almost 6 months into the picture, the Sim surely leans to a positive note in all honesty. And there has been a ton amount of groundwork that has gone in looking at the number of fixes. What happens on any Sim update? Of course, we do have performance updates, changes on stability, fixes across the board that touches scenery, aircraft, career mode, virtual reality and more. A number of interesting features were touched in Sim Update 2. From new content and features. This is where new tools, features, and the logic of the Sim begin to make our day-to-day experience much more smooth. That's where Sim Update 2 introduces several useful features to enhance the usability and realism. Now, console logs now automatically generate when reporting issues, making troubleshooting much more easier and rather faster. Now, we all spoke about wake turbulence a few months ago, and the wake turbulence assistance returns, improving realism, especially for airliner operations. The world map now includes a filter for seaplane bases, which is especially helpful for bush and amphibious flying. Now, in terms of stability and performance improvements, this is where if your sim has been freezing, crashing, or stuttering, this is one section where you'll feel the most, where you can now trim the rolling cache from faster sim response, especially in dense scenery areas, and loading large packages has become more efficient. Now, several crash scenarios have been addressed, including issues during suspend, VR disconnections, online sync drops, while VR users benefit from improved toolbar access, panel visibility, 3D UI behavior, rendering the avatar and scenery performance have been optimized. And if you're wondering about the FPS debug panel, it now shows VRAM and GPU metrics, offering more tools to fine-tune your performance and enjoy that experience. As mentioned earlier, general bug fixes. From tail numbers to graphical bugs, this section addresses the small things that add up over time. They've addressed several long-standing bugs that improve the usability and reliability. For example, tail numbers now apply correctly, UI glitches like broken aircraft selector tiles, formatting errors have been resolved, along with multiplayer visibility bugs. Now, aircraft visuals now handle level of detail and variant switching more smoothly. Weather synchronization, which has seen improvements, cockpit visibility bugs, which have been corrected. Let's talk about the user interface and gameplay fixes. If menus, controls, or gameplay felt clunky, these changes help bring smoother and better interactions. Now, controller mapping bugs, particularly those affecting world map filtering with gamepads, have been resolved. Now, the overall UI is more stable, reducing crashes, freezes during use. Now, feedback when switching aircraft or navigating menus have been improved. That leans more towards an intuitive experience. Let's talk about aircraft enhancement. And there are about 26 aircraft that have been addressed. The Airbus family now features improved autopilot, engine sounds, fuel behavior, while Beechcraft, Cessna models benefit from upgraded avionics, lighting, and engine logic. These are the fundamentals of flying. The Saab 340p has corrected issues with icing, gear handling, and both the PC-12 and the PC-24 received updates to lighting, prop visuals, cockpit toolkits, and fuel systems. Now, in terms of helicopters, they've also seen improvements, like the Bell 407 and Robinson 66 now start more reliably and have smoother hydraulic response. The stem of the Airbus H125 helicopters offer better flight dynamics and polished animations. And even the hot air balloon which you take on a Sunday afternoon now simulates overheating and fuel usage for added realism. In terms of the amphibious aircraft, the Dornier Sea Star has updated aerodynamics and fuel logic, while the Cup Crafters, which is the NX Cup and the X Cup feature, enhance dirt visuals and gear feedback. I'm yet to try this. In terms of the core systems of the aircraft, another important portion to talk about the fundamental of flying. A large number of core areas have been addressed, which include electrics, fuel system, glass cockpit, aircraft engines. It's a bit more technical in this area, and there have been a lot of fixes on this. Aircraft gameplay. When realism meets usability, these changes make aircraft interactions feel less buggy and more immersive. The aircraft now spawn more accurately with correct positioning on the ramp or runway. ATC voices have been polished with more natural phrasing and proper name pronunciations. Key features like IFR clearances, speed limits, checklists have all received important bug fixes. In terms of the career mode enhancements, for mission and certification players, this update improves the logic, clarity, and flow throughout the mode. It's essentially a much-needed overhaul to career mode where many have been talking about, bringing a better structure, functionality to mission progression. Now, translation issues and missing cradle missions have been fixed. Briefings now show time, distance, and aircraft stats for better planning. Fuel tracking has been enabled for employee missions, while bugs with durations, aircraft mismatches, and liveries have been resolved. Mission flow and certifications for firefighting, sightseeing, and advanced aircraft are now smoother and more intuitive. The visual highlights and known issues. It's not perfect, but here's what got better and what still needs attention. Now, there have been noticeable improvements to the visual and environmental experience, where you can see crisper ground textures, enhanced lighting and atmospherics, and the removal of misplaced trees, all contributing to a better world. In addition, aircraft behavior have been refined in certain areas. However, a few ongoing issues still remain according to some users. Now, some users report frame stutters during taxiing or camera changes, along with UI bugs like frozen menus, incomplete pause functionality, and the occasional flickering of blurry textures. Let's talk about a couple of features that was interesting so far, which I found. Frame generation. That's a technique used to improve frame rates by creating extra frames beyond what your typical card renders. This is the graphics card, of course. There are two options available as we see, the NVIDIA DLSS frame generation, and if you have a supported RTX 40 Plus card, DLSS frame generation is ideal. If you're using an AMD hardware or want wider compatibility, FSR3 is an option, but it may not be stable on NVIDIA cards right now. So something to note. Wake turbulence was another beautiful feature to see. One of the other interesting things what I noted was the exposure compensation EV. Essentially that helps with the visual part of it. I've been tweaking a few things and settled with 0.5 as of now, and it looks good enough. Now, Sim Update 2 isn't just a round of polish. It's a rebuild of the Sim's foundation in many areas. Just look at the number of fixes that have gone in, from career mode to VR, and from cockpit systems to world filters. This update shows the direction where Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 is headed. More immersive, more realistic, and more stable. But there are still a few bugs to squash. And we know the team is watching the forums and gathering feedback for what's next. On a positive note, this has worked well for me, and I plan to do a lot more flights and hopefully share my insights on what else Sim Update 2 has brought us. In fact, the next video will be based on VR. Are you ready to experience it all again? I think the Sim is now in a much better state, and as always, it's been a true pleasure. Do stay tuned by subscribing, and until next time, bye bye for now.